Most murders we detect within a couple of weeks. Investigating organised crime is a different world. A proactive investigation into an organised crime group can take years, and it is inherently more dangerous as a cop.
Greater Manchester, a region in the grip of a powerful and ruthless enemy.
Moss Side, Salford, Rochdale. Manchester has always had a gang problem, and it's getting worse.
Rapidly evolving and increasingly beyond the reach of the law, organised crime groups are now operating on an unprecedented scale.
Gangs like businesses. They are well organised, sophisticated.
Did you play a major part in facilitating this murder?
No comment.
To lead the fight against the gangs, teams led by specialist detectives have been formed.
There's 7 of us on a team. These gangs, you're talking 20, 30 gang members.
The victim was tortured with a blowtorch to his ears, iron to his knees, and injected with heroin.
For the first time, a number of these officers have agreed to be filmed.
We've got the supply of over 400 kilos of heroin.
Wherever you have drugs, you have violence.
Tracking major operations over the course of 2 years, this is the story of the organised crime detectives, tasked with taking down Greater Manchester's most sophisticated and notorious gangs.
Coming for yous.
You've got to have a certain steel about you. You can't take a backward step.
To properly dismantle an organised crime group, you've got to sever the snake's head.
Where's the person?
Greater Manchester Police are responding to a shooting on a residential street in East Manchester.
Everybody move that way! There's live rounds everywhere.
Live one there, and there's more back there as well.
3 got out, bellies on. She thinks they were white from what she could see of hands and eyes. And they've just gone up to the van, started putting rounds into it.
Do you have any idea of the male at all?
Just go inside, please.
Officers were called to Birch Street just before 5 o'clock this afternoon after a man was shot in Ashton-under-Lyne. The victim in his 30s was taken to hospital. But later died from his injuries.
At Greater Manchester Police Headquarters, Nexus House, detectives from the Major Incident Team believe the murder of 31-year-old Luke Graham could be a gangland execution.
This is CCTV footage from Birch Street. This is where the murder happened.
The investigation is being led by DCI Liz Hopkinson.
It's 10 to 5, just after a school day on a Wednesday afternoon. You can see the children playing in the street. The little girl here, she's playing on her own.
Officers have recovered CCTV that captures the movements of victim Luke Graham and his suspected drug-dealing partner Anton Vergotta in the moments leading up to Luke's murder.
The vehicle which contains Luke Graham and Anton Vergotta is just leaving this street. They've just done a drug deal at the actual address where this incident took place. The van is just going on to this petrol station. You can see there Luke Graham himself is entering the station. That's the last sight we have of Luke. Whilst they're in there, the Audi A4, which is stolen, is now on Birch Street. Three males get out of the vehicle. Entering the address. And demand of the occupant who lives there to get Anton back to this address, and immediately calls Anton. Anton's parked up on Birch Street and he thinks he's doing another drug deal. Anton comes out of the vehicle. Luke remains in the passenger side. Gunman just comes straight out of the address and shoots inside the vehicle. Crosses the street, firing at Anton. Shoots into the driver's side. Goes back round to the passenger side, by which time Luke Graham is hanging out of that vehicle, mortally wounded. You see that, those two little girls. She's got her little princess dress on.
The gunman fired at least 5 shots, grazing Anton Vergotta's leg and killing Luke Graham almost instantly.
Every effort is made to save his life, but unfortunately he was pronounced dead. When a murder happens, there is such an overwhelming responsibility to find the people who've done this and to bring some justice to the family. Quite often, organised crime takes place in the shadows or the back streets. But when you see a gunman burst out of the house into a busy residential street and shooting, broad daylight, with people sat in the front garden, children playing, the sun shining, it's tea time, that is horrendous. These people are very dangerous individuals and they have to be caught.
The major incident team is made up of 150 detectives, divided into 10 units, dealing with the city's most violent crimes. With rising concern that the shooting could lead to a turf war, 2 units have come together to try and solve the murder.
What I want is an open conversation about what we know, what we don't know, and some of the gaps that we've got in the investigation.
Alongside Liz, the operation will be overseen by DCI Alan Clitheroe.
From intelligence, Luke Graham has taken over some drug dealing activity in the area around Birch Street and probably across to Droylsden with Anton Verrigotta.
Police believe the shooting may be linked to a dispute over drug territory, after Anton Verrigotta and Luke Graham began dealing in an area controlled by an established gang.
Anton got his number out there. I think his drug phone went live on the 12th, and then he started sending out text messages to every drug user in Ashton to say, "I'm your man." There's a lot more gangs in Manchester than there used to be, and gangs are more organised than they were in the 90s. Drug territory is so important, it's everything. If someone else tries to muscle in on that, they do everything possible to stop that. And there's definitely more access to guns now.
Luke's suspected drug dealing partner, Anton Verrigotta, is not cooperating with police.
Anton, listen, you were shot. Your mate was shot dead. In a street full of children. And you're not even remotely interested in talking to us about it. Well, is that because you're going to go out and seek retribution?
Having breached his licence for a previous drugs offence, Verrigotta is returned to prison.
Yeah. Right. So this is the fire engine footage, which shows stolen Audi on fire. The vehicle used by the three individuals to commit the murder.
In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, police hear rumours that a locally known drug dealer, Wade Cox, may be involved.
We'll get rumours in every case. And sometimes you really need it. It might be the only thing you've got. What's really important is not to dismiss it. Wade Cox is a 28-year-old male. He is involved in this organised criminal gang, largely white males, selling Class A drugs, cocaine and heroin in East Manchester. So there's Droylsden, Denton, Stalybridge, and Ashton-under-Lyne.
Wade Cox is arrested and brought in for questioning.
Solicitors here, mate.
Can you give me your full name and date of birth, please?
It's Wade Keaton Cox, 5th of the 4th, 90.
Are you a member of an organised crime group?
No comment.
So you've been arrested, obviously, on suspicion of the murder of Luke Graham. What do you know about that murder?
No comment.
I'll show you a photograph here. Do you know that man?
No comment.
What's the reason for him having to be shot dead yesterday?
No comment.
That's got to be some serious dispute, that. You know as well, probably from the press, that there were 3 males. Can you tell me who they are?
No comment.
Who pulled the trigger?
No comment.
When Cox was brought into custody, officers discovered he was carrying drugs.
What was that package that you had secreted up inside you?
No comment.
Up your backside? I suspect that that is potentially heroin because it looks like it's a dark-coloured substance. Is that what it is?
No comment.
Wade Cox is remanded in prison for violating the conditions of a previous conviction. The unit must now urgently gather the evidence to identify all of the men involved in the shooting and establish if Cox was one of them.
Wade Cox has got a tattoo, which is a tribute to Dale Cregan. It's a picture of a hand grenade.
Wade Cox is believed to be connected to the same organised crime group as notorious Manchester gangster and multiple murderer Dale Cregan.
Dale Cregan is the man who murdered the 2 police women.
It became one of the blackest days in the history of British policing. Witnesses said there was the crackle of numerous bullets and then an explosion. The 2 officers fell to the ground.
He has made the call for purposes of drawing these 2 officers to that particular scene. And then he has come out and shot and killed them both. An act of absolutely cold-blooded murder.
When Dale Cregan shot Nicola and Fiona, I think all the officers in Greater Manchester Police and probably beyond just felt disbelief and shock. It was another level, and it wasn't just that 2 police women, unarmed police women, were murdered. I think it was a method in how it was done. Cregan lured Fiona and Nicola to that house, ambushed them. The 2 police women were attacked with firearms, and hand grenades were also used. It changed the way I and other officers viewed and dealt with organised criminals. It showed us another level that they were prepared to go to in order to continue their business. A tattoo does seem quite a sick tribute. They're just very dangerous individuals.
You know, it's one thing community sort of rumour or gossip saying it was someone, but we need the evidence.
A major line of inquiry centres around a potential witness, a drug user known as Peanut.
Peanut, key and significant witness, being inside the house, threatened by men who came in with guns, didn't know whether he knew them or not.
Police believe the gang forced Peanut to call Graham and Vergotta back to the house, where they were ambushed and shot.
He said these lads came in the house and they said to him, we're going to blow your kneecaps off if you don't make this phone call to Anton. So he has confirmed that he was threatened. He had no choice but to make that phone call.
The fib he's told us is that they had their faces covered. And we know that's not the case.
You can see that the balaclavas are still up.
But does that still put him as frightened? Or does he put it to somebody who's lied to us?
Since speaking to police briefly on the day of the murder, Peanut has seemingly disappeared.
For me, we need to get an account from him. He needs to go through the system.
Gang specialist DS Julie Connor is tasked with tracking him down.
Suspect that he knows more regarding the identity of the offenders. The CCTV is quite good and shows that they did walk into that house uncovered, and potentially you might even know their names. It's just trying to pin him down, obviously, with his lifestyle. And he's frightened. I've been a police officer since 1992. In that time, I've got to know the gangs around Manchester pretty well. They prey on vulnerable people. They'll take over the houses. They'll use people with physical, mental disabilities, children, women who are desperate for money, drug users. This gang basically force their way into a house and force that person to assist them with the murder.
Julie has a list of addresses where Peanut is known to have stayed in the past.
From the police, hello. Is Peanut here? Peanut? Not got anyone staying with you by that name? Hiya. I'm from the police. Is Peanut here? Peanut. Hiya, can you let us in, please? Hiya. We're looking for Peanut.
No, he's not been here a while.
No way.
He's got to come in and have a
Please,
laugh.
can we?
Let him come and stay for a bit.
Right.
But to be honest, I've got a bit too much.
Go on, tell me what he told you about the shooting that happened.
All he basically said was that some lads went in his house and put a gun to him, threatened him, and then next thing he said some guy got shot outside his house.
Did he say he knew him?
No, he wouldn't talk about it, to be honest.
Right. So why do you think that he won't want to talk about it?
Oh no, he's just scared, isn't he?
Do you think so?
Yeah.
He's scared, right? Yeah. If you hear anything from him or hear where he is, either ring me or drop me a text and I'll ring you. All right. It does seem like he's frightened. He knows that the gunmen will know what, you know, that he's seen them. He's got every reason to be very reluctant to talk.
In the late 90s, when Manchester was Gunchester, I spent most of my probation stood on the scenes for gunshot victims. It was making national press. There was a large amount of gang-related shootings. So that was being there with a crime scene tent over the body of generally a young male who had been shot, with the family and being the sort of the focal point for some of those emotions. The family's a central part of any investigation. That relationship is so important. When that relationship is formed, we'll see a fantastic source of information.
As the search for witnesses continues, detectives visit Luke Graham's father to help build a picture of his son's life.
Did Luke have any middle names?
Paul. Luke Paul Graham.
What was he like as a young boy?
Just happy, young lad. Got on with everybody, really. Made a lot of friends, especially when they moved to Miles Platten. Maybe it's because we moved and then we moved back to Gorton.
Yeah.
That he sort of grew up a bit and he could look after himself, you know what I mean? We went through all the Asbo phase with him. He actually got caught burgling a house.
Do you remember how old he was?
He would have been about 12, 13. I think just before his mum died, he'd been to Strangeways. I thought that would have woke him up a bit, because that's not a nice place to go to. He was involved in drugs then, and he was doing time for it. I'm sorry, it's...
No, what are you sorry?
Just what the things that, obviously Luke, he was no angel.
No, that's fine.
I mean, but no one deserved, at the end of the day, that. So.
I'm not here to judge what choices he made in life.
Yeah.
You know, but nobody deserves to be murdered.
No.
In her search for Peanut, Julie is continuing to work her way through the list of addresses.
Next one. Ah, this one. Hiya, I'm from the police. Are we all right coming in? You've not seen him for about a week, so do you know where he's getting his head down now?
I've got a clue.
What's he told you about what happened with the shooting? Just think about it. Has he mentioned any names at all?
No.
Do you know anything about why it happened?
I got told it was Wade Cox.
Who was that? Who told you that?
I can't remember who it was.
Would you be willing to give us a statement?
Should I say that I've said that?
Yeah.
No.
Would you not? Why not?
I don't know, I'm scared. Wade Cox, if he found out that I'd said this to you, he'd probably kill me.
We can do things to help. So
I don't want to get involved in that all.
Do you not?
No. Because the dangerous, aren't they?
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to die for saying someone's name to the police.
Okay.
At Nexus House, police analysts have been tracking suspect Wade Cox's movements on the day of the murder by cross-referencing data from his phone with CCTV.
Right, so this is Ultimate Fitness Gym in Staley Bridge. His phone has told us that he's here at this time. Black t-shirt, black shorts. He's on his phone quite a lot. He's a drug dealer, so it's how he operates. So after a flurry of phone calls, Wade leaves the gym in that Mercedes by himself. In Wade's phone movements, we sort of picked up that he might be near the Langfield Crescent area.
A mile or so away from where Luke was killed.
That's correct. And that's when we see the silver Audi. A white male gets out of the driver's side. Now, to me, that looks like Wade. Broad shoulders, quite a muscular lad. Chin-strap beard, appears to have the same sort of style of hair.
That's Wade Cox, but he's got changed.
He's no longer in his black Givenchy t-shirt, his shorts.
The clothing that he's wearing now is similar to what the gunman is wearing on Birch Street.
Yeah, hour and 50 minutes before the murder takes place. But from what we know about Wade's movements in the afternoon, he couldn't have been in the Birch Street area around the time that Luke Graham was murdered, because his phone is clearly showing that he isn't in that area.
The GPS data from Cox's phone suggests he was several miles away from the scene of the murder when it happened, therefore giving him an alibi.
Even if I'm audio recording him, I might need you to make a few notes. Obviously, if he comes up with something like names or anything, just record that down anyway.
DS Julie Connor believes she has located the man known as Peanut, who witnessed the murder of Luke Graham.
It's taken quite a while to track this place down. I've had to go to probably about 20 addresses. Hopefully this is where I'm going to find him. It does appear that the CCTV shows the offenders walked in not wearing face coverings. Potentially, he would know the identity of them. So we're just needing to tell us the truth. Hello, hey, just the man.
How you doing, buddy?
Peanut.
What's up?
I'm Julie Connor. Do you remember speaking to me on the phone?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Can we come in?
Yeah, come in.
Yeah, right. Right, thanks for having us in.
All right.
Yeah, so you do look well. How long have you been clean?
6 weeks.
About 6 weeks. So really, one of the purposes of today, firstly, is to see that you're all right, to see if you need anything from the police, and secondly, it's to see whether there's anything else that you remember. Just tell me what happened that day. So you're in your house, yeah? What's the first time that you saw Anton?
He's come round to drop some bits off.
Was he dealing to you that day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did he drop off?
Cracking heroin.
Right, OK. Was that his area that he was able to deal in?
Yeah, suppose so, yeah.
OK, and what happened then?
I was about to go upstairs and then 3 boys came in.
How soon after was it that Anton had left?
Within 2 minutes.
Was it?
Yeah.
So it's that quick?
Yeah.
OK. Tell me about these people coming in.
They've come into the house. And one of them, the first one to come in, said, "Get Anson, phone Anson, get him back here now." So I've gone upstairs to get the phone. I phoned him on loudspeaker. And this aggressive one told me to sit down, so I've sat down in an armchair. And then the other one's come over, said, "No funny business. I'll put him in your leg."
And what was he going to put in your leg?
I assumed a bullet. I phoned Anton. He's answered the phone. He said, "I'm outside now, come out now." The boys were walking towards the door when I come back upstairs.
What's the first thing that happened then?
2 gunshots. Went to the window, seen one of the guys leaning into the van, put me right into his chest.
OK. How long would you say all that took?
A minute.
Really? Was that quick?
That was quick, yeah.
All right. The first one said to you about get Anton back. Can you describe that person to me?
Balaclava. That's it.
Did you recognise the voice?
No.
What can you tell me about the second person?
The same as the first one.
What about that third person? Did they have head and face? Are they? Because what it looks like is that when they go in, they haven't got the balaclavas down. They've come to the front door and just walked in, as if they knew, as if they'd been there before. That's how it looked. Yeah. So, can you help me with that? Had they been there before?
I don't know. I can't remember seeing any faces.
Maybe you don't want to remember seeing the faces. Because they've killed someone, haven't they? We need some people to help us, and we need the truth. Did you recognise any of them?
He's in a difficult situation, isn't he?
Yes. And you want to persuade people to do the right thing, but they've got to be sure for themselves that they're going to be safe, haven't they? This is a dangerous gang. We've killed someone already.
Despite GPS data showing suspect Wade Cox's mobile phone was not at the scene of the murder, analysts have continued to study CCTV of his movements that day.
Now, more and more people have just started to turn up. Another one turns up. Another one turns up.
The footage appears to show Cox meeting a large group of men 90 minutes before the shooting.
Around 9 people in total having some sort of meeting.
So an hour and a half before Luke Graham gets murdered, there's several members of this criminal gang who've all turned up at the same location.
That's correct. The silver Audi has been travelling in tandem with a black Golf. The Golf being driven by Charlie, friend, criminal associate Charlie Atkinson.
By cross-referencing phone data with CCTV, the team believe they've identified the men.
Audi SQ5, driven by Connor Cornforth. 3 people get into that stolen Audi. It's the same 3 people that get out the scene of the murder of Luke Graham. So this lad here.
Yeah.
Front passenger of the vehicle. Large built, light-skinned mixed race male. This is 10:30 in the morning at the gym. All the same clothing. Liad Z. Known associate of Wade Cox. Individual 3 getting out of the car. Sort of skinny legs, black Nike Vapor Max trainers. That's Callum Halpin. It's from all his intelligence says he's there for muscle. He's there because he'll do anything people tell him to do. Driver, Wade Cox, got his hood up now.
Yes.
But we've seen him without his hood on. We've seen his hair, we've seen his beard. It would appear as though no one in that car have brought a phone to that murder.
Police suspect the 3 men in the Audi handed over their phones during the earlier meeting in a coordinated attempt to suggest they were elsewhere when the murder was committed.
Wade's phone for the rest of the afternoon. That phone travels with Charlie Atkinson.
Okay.
We know that Callum Halpin, his phone has remained with Connor Cornforth. We've got physical CCTV of him being given it back. In his hand you can see it's a phone.
Yeah.
Fist bump. Fist bump with Connor.
Yeah.
Watch this now. Phone. Callum's got that phone back.
Palming their phones off with another person is one way of trying to show that they were elsewhere at the time.
They're very surveillance aware, and that's what they've done.
Police believe up to 9 suspected members of the OCG worked together to mask the movements of the 3 in the Audi.
So we need to prioritise the actions that we're going to do and how we're going to progress things before we're going to get these nominals in.
The unit meet to discuss the new evidence they have gathered, with a view to planning the arrest of multiple suspected gang members.
We've got on CCTV Wade, who's the main gunman, discharging the gun.
Yeah.
Because the key is your identification on Langfield Crescent.
Yeah.
We think Cox, Adshead and Callum Halpin are in the Audi. The conspirators, as we call them, I think we've got a really, really strong case.
They've gone through the manual of how to make sure you don't get caught, you know,
Yeah.
stolen car, burn it out. The phones have them go off in different directions.
Our 7, 8 people that we identified had a very specific role, really assisting our main offenders, and absolutely should come in for that conspiracy to murder.
With gangs, it's so important to get everyone. If we don't catch all of them, then that's somebody else who we know is prepared to either pull the trigger or be involved in that type of crime.
With Wade Cox still on remand for drugs charges, warrants are issued for the arrest of the 8 other men.
Background on this. On the 13th of June, Luke Graham was shot in Ashton as part of an organised crime turf war. Luke's injuries proved fatal. Adults and children had to take cover in order to prevent themselves from becoming unintended victims at the hands of these gunmen. CCTV clearly shows 3 offenders. The gunman, Wade Cox. Investigation has established that this has been a premeditated murder. It was carefully planned and executed by a much larger group. Our objective will be to arrest all co-conspirators. What are you doing now?
Connor Cornforth. You under arrest for conspiracy to murder Luke Graham and participating in the criminal activities of an organised crime group.
Just try it no one out, Jake.
You're under arrest on suspicion of conspiring to murder Anton Berrigotta and conspiring to murder Luke Graham.
Contact.
Back in your bed.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Being arrested now on suspicion of conspiracy to commit murder. What?
Intelligence indicates that some of our suspects have fled the country. However, it remains our intention to execute all the warrants and arrest those suspects.
You're both arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. We're arresting you for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence.
Seven men are arrested and brought in for questioning. But one of those suspected of being in the Audi, Callum Halpin, cannot be located.
0737. Conspiracy to murder and participating in the criminal activities of an OCG. Potentially a turf war.
We had to get a toothbrush kit.
Yeah, we'll sort you out. Not a problem.
Conspiracy to murder times 2.
So I've arrested Jordan Charles Atkinson at 08:55 hours this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Suspected gunman Wade Cox is brought from prison to be arrested and re-interviewed.
I'm arresting you further on suspicion of conspiracy to murder, attempt murder, and participation in the activities of an organised crime group. Right, so you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
I'm dead conscious I want to crack on with the interviews because obviously we need to get the teams out there and we get going with it.
Nice sunny day. Lots of little kids walking down the street. Wade Cox shoots Luke Graham. Luke Graham fatally wounded. Did you play a major part in facilitating this murder?
No comment.
Mixed race male with a long sleeve top on with a white stripe down the ear. Who's that person?
No comment.
Is that you?
No comment. So why did you have Wade Cox's mobile phone with you at the time that he was committing a murder? No comment.
Callum gives his phone to you. So you drive completely away from Bird Street. The determined actions of a well-organised criminal group that needs to take precautions when they're carrying out a murder.
No comment.
Amongst those arrested is Ben Dodd. Mobile phone analysis suggests he helped to dispose of the silver Audi used in the murder, which was found burnt out later that night.
Where were you on the 13th of June 2018?
Where was you the 13th of June? When did you wake up? Where did you wake up on the 13th of June? What was you doing? At JC concert.
What?
Beyonce, JC concert.
All right, okay. Where was that?
That was at the City Stadium.
Manchester City Stadium. Well, was there anyone else with you?
No, I mean...
So what was you wearing?
I smoked that much weed. Do you think I will remember what I was wearing on that day?
Where did you sit? Did you stand up?
I stood up wanking. What do you think I did?
The person who has burnt out the Audi A4 has been seen by a witness to jump back because they appear to have burnt themselves. We've got some images from the hospital. Is that you?
No comment.
Do you dispute that's you?
No comment.
Because I believe quite clearly that is you.
No comment.
The phone belonging to Jay Cornforth has received a text message. Fucked up. Be in contact in the morning and sorry. Is it that you're contacting them because you've burnt the car but also burnt yourself at the same time? So you have, in essence, fucked up.
No comment.
He knows that because he's made these mistakes, he's implicating the others.
Next into interview is Wade Cox.
I'm Detective Sergeant Hannah from the Force Major Incident Team. We've also got people live streaming this interview, other officers engaged in the operation who are listening in as well. Right, so you've been arrested of suspicion of the murder of Luke Graham. What's your involvement in his murder?
No comment.
So we know that you're being told that Luke Graham is going around calling you a ginger cunt
and saying not to buy off you.
No comment.
Your business is being damaged there, isn't it?
No comment.
Less money in the pocket of your organised crime group, isn't it?
No comment.
I'm going to play you some footage. So we'll listen and I'll try and point out some things as we go along.
What are we looking at?
This is Birch Street. So this is where the murder happened. This is the stolen Audi now that you drive in. So the front door's open. All the CCTV that we've got, all the phone work that we've got, everything says that's you. Everything. What's going on in the house?
No comment.
The men that walked in, and you were one of them, told the occupier in that house to get Anton back. Here's Anton's van coming back up the street. You see all the children in the street. Kiddies all hearing the gunshots all run back to the houses for safety. So that's 10 seconds. That first shot goes through the passenger door. That shoots through the left side of Luke Graham, zigzags through his chest cavity, and severs his aorta and kills him. So he's dying within seconds of that. And it's you that pulls the trigger. There was no opportunity there where you've had any verbal exchange with them, where you've shown them the gun and tried to get them to back off. None. You come straight out and shoot him dead. So there were 5 attempts there to load bullets into a person. That is some intention to kill, isn't it?
No comment.
And some serious grievance against them. Put them off taking your business. This is pre-planned. Everyone seemed to know where to go, what to do. Follow the police, cover our tracks. We know that Charlie had your phone. We all knew he was going to get murdered, didn't you? This was no conspiracy to frighten anyone. This is a conspiracy to murder.
Come on.
The Crown Prosecution Service agrees to charge all 8 suspected gang members with murder.
You are charged with the following offences. On the 13th of June 2018 at Ashton under Lyne.
13th of June 2018 at Ashton under Lyne, the county of Greater Manchester, murdered Luke Graham. Murdered Luke Graham,
Murdered Luke Graham.
Attempted to murder Anton Berrigotta.
Stand at the desk next to DS Connor, please.
Hiya, Wade. CPS have come back with a decision to charge you for 2 matters, murder and attempt murder. OK, so just listen to what my colleague's going to say.
On the 13th of June 2018 at Ashton in the county of Greater Manchester, you attempted to murder Anton Berrigotta, contrary to Section 1 of the Criminal Attempts Act 1981.
Is there any reply you'd like to make to that?
No. On the 13th of June 2018 at Ashton in the county of Greater Manchester, you murdered Luke Graham, contrary to common law.
Any reply to that one?
solicitor's been informed?
Yep. All right, Tom.
Tuesday went as well as it could have done, really, in terms of we got everyone that we could have got. You know, we got some key piece of evidence. It was clear from getting interviewed that they really weren't expecting it.
I actually slept on Wednesday. I actually had a good sleep, you know. It felt as though, oh, great. We've been more or less bang on with the names. Just shows you that people, it's so small, Manchester. It's, well, this area, especially East Manchester, it's so small that everyone knows each other. These guys have got friends of our friends.
I watched Arthur grow up.
I said to him, don't do nothing, just let it bide. He held back. He could have quite easily gone and done something about it, you know what I mean? I said, no, don't, just leave it. I said, we'll have our day. He's not laughing now.
We're in a really strong position now. We've got it, they're on remand, and if we get our way and things go according to plan with the court case, you know, that they'll be in prison for a long, long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wade Cox was convicted of murder and also of grievous bodily harm with intent. When he was sentenced, the judge took into account all the aspects of that crime. The fact that it occurred on the street in broad daylight, people were in the line of fire, that there were children playing on the street, and the planning behind that murder. And she gave him 36 years custodial sentence. The fact as well, his allegiances to the likes of Dale Cregan. Yeah, I think he deserved it.
To find out more about the law on interviewing suspects, sentencing offenders, and investigative techniques, go to bbc.co.uk/detectives and follow the links to the Open University.
No one really knew what to expect, how people across the world dealt with COVID in those first few months. The series tells the story of the pandemic beginning on Thursday at 9 here on BBC Two.